I've been asked, and I'll go further into depth on this in an actual video, but I've been asked to discuss what it's like to be in the military. Let me start off by saying that sometimes it takes a while. I took, I spent 7 months, 6 or 7 months, waiting just to go through MEPS so I could go to basic military training. And I knew where I wanted to go. In the Air Force, I knew what job I wanted. I knew what I planned on doing. The job I intended to go into had no shortage. Well, they had a shortage of people, which is why I knew exactly where I was going. But there's this song by Rise Against that I really like called Hero of War, and I think it pretty accurately portrays what some 18, 19, early 20-something imagines themselves being when they join the military, which is a hero of war. And in the song, I don't know the vocalist's name, but he says, "A hero of war, yeah, that's what I'll be. And when I come home, they'll be damn proud of me." When I first joined, I had that exact image in my head. I mean, this dude has to have talked to a lot of people that served, because that's the image of me I had in my head. That's what was there. I didn't think for even a second what it would be like to actually do the things that were expected of me. I didn't, still don't, fortunately, have any idea what it's like to kick in someone else's door, to point my gun at another person with the fullest intent to shoot them, and essentially put a black bag over their head and take them hostage. I don't know what that's like. And I'm glad I don't. But there are so many people who have this romanticized idea of the military, and again, I plan on doing an actual video on this, but for now, it doesn't really matter where you live. Considering joining the military isn't a joke. I know it, at least in American seem like an easy decision. You get health care. I personally have no concern whatsoever about what medical costs will be for anything I do going forward. Earlier this year, I spent 3 days in the hospital getting my stomach pumped because my small bowel had an impaction in it, an obstruction. I didn't have to think about it. Anytime I go to the hospital for some ache or pain, I don't think about it. The GI Bill is one hell of a good thing to go to join the military for, because your education is basically paid for the next decade going forward. But there's more than a few things that people don't think through. They see the pageantry, the gallantry, the fantasy that the military is this elegant thing that you do, and they don't think about that next step. They don't think that the military is just as boring as real life. It's boring. You wake up, you shower and shave, you go to work, you go home. Whether home is off base housing, on base housing with your spouse, or you're single and don't have much rank and you just go live in a dorm. People don't think about that shit. People don't think that eventually you're going to have to go downrange, more likely than not, to some place that is hostile towards your very existence. People don't think that they're probably going to get shot at. And the person I'm making this video that I'm still writing the script for one person. One. Who thinks they will gain discipline and some sense of organization, I guess, through the military, when there are so many better ways to do it. There's so many better ways to get what you're after. You know, you can get discipline and organization and whatever it is you're after from pretty much anywhere in life, and you can probably do it better than with the military. I have actually been positively affected by the military, and that's kind of in spite of my service, because I was diagnosed with asthma before I could deploy. My first deployment was supposed to be to Balad, Iraq. And at the time I was supposed to go there, it was a hot and heavy war zone. When I was supposed to go there, I would have expected to be shot at. I'm lucky. And anyone who's thinking about going into the military for this token idea of discipline, you can do better on your own. Long term, you can do better on your own. I'll be making a more concise and probably thoughtful video fairly soon, sometime in the next few months. But the idea that the military is the only place you can get this is don't join the military because you think you can get discipline. Don't join the military because you think you can get direction in life. The military, there are 3 words that I can more or less distill the military experience into. And the first word universally is yes. When you are given an order by a superior, the first word out of your mouth is expected to be yes. The second word depends entirely upon the sex the person giving you the order is. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. That's the military. I will go further into depth in the video that I'm still scripting, but it's not something to be taken lightly. And if you think you're going to be a hero of war, there's actually a song written by a band called Rise Against called Hero of War. And it approaches this topic in a better way than I honestly think I ever could. You know, a hero of war, yeah, that's what I'll be. And when I come home, they'll be damn proud of me. Sure. I thought this when I was still a fucking kid. What, 10 years ago now? 12 years ago, actually? And now at the ripe old age of 34, I can't think of anything I'm more grateful than having both of my deployments taken. Well, the first deployment, I'm grateful for Balad, Iraq being taken away from me. I'm grateful for that. I would have liked to follow a plane around on a flyover deployment where, you know, I was given a flight suit and told that I would be on a plane for the next 6 months, and I followed it wherever it went in the world. Whether it was Korea, where I could have seen some friends of mine, or I stayed in Germany where I already had friends, or America where again I already had friends. England, I already had friends. Wherever I went, I had friends because Air Force is a thing. But again, I will be going further into depth with this video when I'm finally done with it. When I'm done scripting all of that. But for now, I've been sitting on this for well over long enough. If you are considering joining the military, that's fantastic. I support it. I absolutely do. I would just suggest that while you're waiting to actually join, while you're waiting to be sent wherever it is the Army sends you, Paris Island or the other Marine station, I don't remember, Lackland, which actually is the only one that matters because, well, let's face it, Air Force has the highest standard of living. While you're waiting to join, actually give it some thought, because your service doesn't begin until you take the oath. Prior to that, you can step out whenever you want. The second before you take the oath, you can step out and say, no, I won't. You can change your mind all the way until that point. And I suggest you take every second to consider that. It's not an easy decision. It shouldn't be an easy decision. It's something that will change the rest of your life. And if 34-year-old me were to go back and have a conversation with 22-year-old me, you bet the decision-making process to join the military would take considerably longer than it initially did. Maybe that comes from the experience of having actually been in the military. Maybe it's just that I'm older and more cautious now. It's hard to tell. I don't know the answer to that question. Doesn't matter what the answer to that question is. I'm 34 and I got out of the military about 12 years ago. Or I got into the military about 12 years ago. That question doesn't matter anymore. I've long since passed it. But for everyone that's considering going in, I hope you see this video. I hope you see this live stream, and I hope you don't see a semi-drunk 34-year-old. I hope that you see a military veteran who is saying you need to put thought into this life-altering decision, this decision that you are granting the next 4 years minimum, assuming something doesn't happen like it did to me and you don't get booted prior to that. This will change your life one way or the next. I only served for 2 years before I was medically discharged. My life isn't even remotely the same as it would be. I personally would say that my experience is a net positive coming out of the military. That's great. It's fantastic for me. It's fucking wunderbar. But that's not the universal experience. Take the time and actually think about your decision to join the military. And a question I've gotten fairly regularly, and actually is the title of this video, A Flag That I Love and a Flag That I Trust, is that flag right there. That is the only American flag that I will grant any special protection to, and it's because it's the flag that was given to my grandmother when my grandfather thankfully died of old age. Frankly, if I have a choice in ways to go out of the world, I'm gonna go the way my grandpa did. A massive heart attack, maybe not something so gruesome, but something equally as instantaneous. He died of a massive heart attack right after he was hanging out with some friends. He died with a smile on his face, from everything I've heard. You know, he served in the Atlantic Theater. He was a Navy veteran. And he worked on a repair ship, actually. Sorry about all the coughing. I just have asthma. I don't have COVID, I promise. At least that's what the last test I had said. But my grandpa served on a repair ship in World War II. I literally have maybe not Nazi killing in my blood, but you know, my family, despite its German descent, has Nazi killing in its blood, adjacent though it may be. You know, and part of my inheritance, whenever my father dies, is war trophies that are now illegal to claim in a theater of war. But my grandpa collected some trophies. Some SS collar shits, I don't remember what they're called. Maltese crosses, that kind of thing. So, you know, I'll get these actually Nazi death paraphernalia at some point in the future. So if you want to say that violence is never the answer, always remember that World War II is a thing, and those fuckers would have taken over the world given the chance. Still will. I'm kind of rambling at this point. And Purple is the only one commenting in the chat. So thanks for that, bud. But again, I do plan on uploading or finishing the script for a video where I talk directly to people that are considering joining the military, and hopefully that comes out sooner rather than later, but I'm working 7 days a week, minimum 8 hours a day, so 56 hours a week. There's not a whole lot of waking hours left. But just please, if you're thinking about joining the military, actually think about it. Take the time, consider what it means for you. Consider what it will do to you. Don't think about what it can do for you. Think about what it will do to you. That's not a consideration that's given even remotely close enough. Your military experience will have an effect on you going forward. Period. End of discussion. It will. I don't care who you are. I don't give a shit if you're, I don't know, some 4-star general. I don't care if you're chief of staff wherever, or if you got out earlier than that, if you haven't even gotten in yet, it will affect you going forward. Give it some real thought. Purple rhymes with orange actually brings up a fantastic point. Your recruiter will lie to you to get you to enlist. Actually, a story I was told in basic training in one of my classes, the instructor was talking about the global war on terrorism, and this girl raised her hand and said, "We're in a war?" And his only response was, "Wow, your recruiter lied to you." That's one of the more important things. If you haven't actually signed on yet, get everything in writing. Your enlistment bonus, any promises in what job you get, whatever. Get that shit in writing before you sign that final piece of paper. But yeah. I think this is probably the longest unplanned live stream I've had. So I think I'm going to hop off now. My video that I plan to be scripted is probably going to be considerably shorter than this, but no less important. I don't even know if this will stay up. What am I talking about? I'll talk to everyone later. Just actually think about joining the military before you do. All right?